Hello, oral production students. This is our weekly feedback video for the week of June 1st. We have quite a lot of activities for this week, so I'm going to just review some key points from those. And first, I want to talk about the activity on the benefits of being bilingual. So I'm going to review the true and false section first. I'm just going to go over the answers so you can check your work with what I decided was the correct answer, because I also went through the worksheet myself. So for number one, it was false, since the children, or the students in this case, will only face temporarily face difficulties, or they'll only face temporary difficulties, because as they get older, as they move on in their course of studies, they will overcome those. And as you'll see in just a moment, they'll actually enjoy certain advantages. So that's number one. Number one is false. Number two is true. They tend to receive slightly better grades, actually. So if anything, it helps them. Number three is also true. But the thing is, they are likely to develop it later, or less likely, I should say. So it's not impossible. It's just that it's less likely if they do get it later on. But overall, that one would be true, because it does prolong the development of that disease. Okay? So number four would be false, because even though adults may struggle more with things like accents, they are actually better at learning new vocabulary, because they can use connections that they've made in their own language to more quickly acquire vocabulary, because even in their own language, they will have a more robust vocabulary than someone that's younger. So again, number four is false. Now, number five is true. It's actually easier to learn more languages once you have two. And then for every subsequent language, it'll be even easier, because you will not only be picking up learning strategies, but you'll be making word associations and a number of other linkages that will help you pick up the new language faster. So that would cover that section. Now I am going to go to the section where it was asking us to rewrite the sentences with the same meaning, but in a different way. So for number one, the original sentence was, people say that the best way to learn a foreign language is to live in the country. And then they asked us to rewrite it using the stem that they provided. So what I put down, if you got anything close, that would be good. Living in the country is the best way to learn a foreign language. So anything close to that and you would be correct. Okay, sentence number two. People used to think that adults couldn't lose the accent from their first language. And then using the stem that they provided, I have, it was believed that adults could not lose the accent from their first language. Okay? Number three, people estimate that over 1,500 different languages are spoken in India. And the sentence that I rewrote, it is estimated that over 1,500 different languages are spoken in India. Okay? Number four, people estimate that only 20% of Americans speak a second language. And my sentence was, only 20% of Americans speak a second language, comma, according to estimates. So it means the same thing, but I wrote it in a different way using the stem they gave us. And now for number five, 100 years ago, people considered that talking to a baby in two languages was a bad thing. The way I rewrote it was, 100 years ago, talking to a baby in two languages was considered a bad thing. So, very similar, but I made some minor tweaks to make it fit the stem that they provided. So that covers the essential parts of that activity. I'm going to move over now to the activity about interviews. Okay? So first of all, the interview process is a two-way street. You are traveling toward a goal, which is the right job. And the person interviewing you, your potential or prospective employer, is traveling towards a goal as well. They're trying to hire the right person for the job and the right fit for the company. So the idea is to meet in the middle somewhere. As a general rule, a job interview is an important part of the process of applying for a job, and it may range in formality from casual conversations to serious discussions with a variety of different people within the company, depending on the job position and the size and scope of the company itself. Okay? So another thing to mention is that the number and nature of interviews can vary from one company to the next based on size and available resources. So here, next, I'm going to cover some tips for interviews from the other activity that we had for this week. So number one, and these are based on the video, by the way, is that it is very important to ask good questions, not just asking questions for the sake of asking them, but to really ask questions that are going to help you decide if it's actually in your interest to work there. And you also want to make the interviewer see that you're interested, that you're thinking about the process, and that you're asking meaningful, targeted questions. For example, you could say, what is it like to work here? How are you going to evaluate performance? Anything along those lines, just that they're active, good questions, okay? So second tip is to be flexible during the interview. So whether it may be about scheduling the follow-up interview, meeting other people, providing references, whatever it is, they're asking you to be flexible and accommodating, and you need to show them that you are. That will make yourself look good, and you'll get off on the right foot with this person or with this company. Okay? Tip number 3, use the same language and style that the person interviewing you is using. And you can do this by doing some research into the company's culture, mission, and style, which you can find online. That will let them know that you are deeply interested, that you have done the research, that you're proactive, and that you belong there, essentially. So that is going to help you make a good first impression. Number 4 is to compliment the interviewer if you can, and ask follow-up questions to let them know that you're listening to what they're saying instead of just waiting to speak. So you could, for example, ask for further information about something they said if you didn't understand, or if you liked a point that they made, you could also indicate your interest by asking those follow-up questions. And now finally, tip number 5 is to let them know that you want the job. So as the person in the video mentioned, simply going is not enough. You need to tell them, you need to demonstrate enthusiasm through your voice, through your body language, through your attire, any of those things, to let them know that you're not only there, but you're interested and that you are the best option for them. So that would cover all of what I wanted to talk about in this video. With that said, I will see you next week.